Buongiorno.
Good. Welcome to the International Vergecast. My God, this is a disaster. Well, hello. Welcome to the Vergecast. I actually don't know the week. Welcome. It's the week of the Apple event.
September 9th.
September 9th. Welcome to the Vergecast week of September 9th. I'm Nilay Patel.
I'm David Pierce.
I'm Ross Miller.
Josh Polsky is on vacation.
I don't believe it.
Where I believe today he saw an insect.
He met a friend, is what he called.
It's true.
Yeah. No, just imagine Josh's body on a beach.
Just extraordinarily naked.
But his soul in the sky. No, he's on vacation.
I saw, my favorite thing was Josh tweets this picture, or Josh Instagrams this picture, and just immediately somebody comments, goes, "Bro, you're so high."
This is what Josh is doing on vacation.
I met a cool new buddy today.
He's locating
my Josh impression.
He's locating animals and taking photos.
I mean, that thing does look really cool. I would be friends with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would. Like, I bet I can fly. Probably can't fly. Probably can jump though.
It probably jumped on him after that.
I'm sure.
And then got high.
Anyway, but huge week of news. If you don't know, the Vergecast is where we talk about the week in news, art, science, culture. Very little technology. Just to be perfectly frank with you, we mostly hate technology. To be honest. And if you love it
and each other,
you should go elsewhere.
Right.
No, but a huge week in news. There's only one place to start. This was a week that Rick Perry opened the Moto X factory.
And Mark Cuban was there.
And Mark Cuban was there.
Oh, and don't forget we can take phone calls too.
Oh, we can take phone
About
calls.
Rick Perry and Moto X Factory.
So I'm told that
Call
we
with your
have a
Rick
phone
Perry
number.
impression.
What is the phone number for people to call?
The phone number is, drumroll 1 second, because I completely forgot to keep this loaded up.
It's
on the screen.
1-888-418-4074.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to just start
And it's on the
calling.
screen.
Here are the things we want to talk about today. We want to talk about Apple, obviously.
Yep.
I'm dying to know which iPhone people are going to buy if you do.
If you're going to buy one.
Which you probably are. I mean, let's
Or
be
I
honest.
will say, I'm curious. Like, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, the Moto X and the HTC One seem cool. I'm going to wait and see what the iPhone does. People have been saying this to me for like 3 months. And I'm really curious. Like, now everybody's cards are on the table.
Right.
And now I'm curious.
Except for
where
the
people
Nexus
land.
5, which looks terrible.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, and we'll talk about this later. I don't think I'm getting the iPhone this time.
Okay.
Well,
Well, we'll
that's
talk
good.
to people
We'll talk
about
later.
it.
Let's
And what color? So,
Right.
You want to talk iPhone, start calling the number. We're going to talk about PlayStation. You want to talk about PlayStation, start calling the number. Just look, you know what we want to do today? We want to talk to you. If you know where I can get this removed from my head in New York City, that's good.
It's called a barber.
Barber recommendations, putting out there. Call the number. So let's start with Apple. David, this was your first.
It was
Your first Apple.
my
event.
first Apple
How'd
event.
it go?
It was,
What happened to you?
Well, so it's funny. So these, I mean, on some level, all of these events are the same. Like, live blogging is kind of live blogging, and everybody's press conferences now are sort of modeled on what Apple's been doing for years.
Yeah.
So they all feel kind of the same, but yet there was this totally different tenor at this event than anything else I've ever been to. And it was like, first of all the like, quote unquote big name people that never go to other events go to Apple events. So it's like, if you're in this industry, it's like the best people watching ever.
Right.
Walt Mossberg rolls up in a red Nissan Altima, honks his horn. I'm not kidding you, like 3 times, and a half dozen different people are like, "Oh, is Walt here? I think Walt's here." And it was like a celebrity had just rolled up in a red Nissan Altima, and then he just went over and parked and like rolled into the building. I was like,
Yeah.
Walt Mossberg.
Man.
There he is.
But no, it was fun. It was a cool event. It was in this tiny little room in Cupertino
Oh, it was
on
what,
their
Town
campus.
Hall 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
it's just like
really
200
small.
people or something,
Yeah, if
right?
that even. But it was chaos. Like, they run these events better than a lot of people, but it's still a lot of, you stand here and then they're like, okay, come on in. And then you move 8 feet and they're like, okay, hold on.
Right. Now you're
for 20 more
inside
minutes.
into like the covered area.
Right, exactly. But the event itself was fun. I think people went in, I went in at least assuming that there was going to be something big and huge that I didn't expect.
Right.
And there wasn't, which was
Yeah.
weird.
But I called that.
Did you?
So yes, don't you remember? For a week, we've been arguing. Just our staff, the Verge staff,
Right.
has been arguing about how big this event would be, and I've been saying I've known because it's on the campus, it's small,
Right.
that it was going to be. It's
Yeah, I mean, their last event was at Moscone in San Francisco, which is like several thousand people.
And when it's not that, it's Europe One next door, which is also
Right.
many hundreds.
And if they're going to do a new iPhone, they need to keep the focus on a new iPhone.
Right.
Right.
But I was thinking, I mean, the big thing that everybody's been saying for the last 6 months is, Apple needs to make a big splash and do something innovative. And I guess maybe they think iOS 7 is that.
No.
And is enough. But like everything they showed here was very much, I mean, it was a point update, essentially. Right. It was an S phone, and like it's good, it's better. Lots of people are going to buy it. but it's in terms of like, and Wall Street has shown this, and the reaction to the event has shown this, but they got up and basically said, these things that we do well, we're now doing slightly better than we used to, and we're doing all the same things.
Right. I mean, at this point, like, think about the things that are actually secret and get revealed. At this point, for the last couple of years, it's been a Mac Pro, which we didn't know what it would look like because we didn't really care that much, and the iPod Nano, which is like, oh, it's an iPod.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I can't remember the last really big flagship product that was completely secret until it was announced.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, those days are just gone.
I mean, I think Apple's done a good job of keeping things like this watch. Like, no one's seen a picture of their watch.
Sure.
Right.
No one's seen a picture of their TV.
That's true. If
Right.
there is a watch, but then it'll be the same thing it always is in 2 weeks before whatever event they have next.
Well,
It'll
so
just start
I think
flowing
the
out.
big
If it's
difference.
manufactured
and
early.
I sent out a really snarky tweet. Do you send a tweet? I folded my tweet, sent it to the world.
Put it in a bottle, threw it in the ocean.
Tweet in a bottle, by the way. That is a romantic comedy waiting. Rachel McAdams.
It's like somebody subtweeting her for years and she never realizes
it's
it.
Channing Tatum subtweeting Rachel McAdams for years and years and years.
And then she finds out and she's like, oh my God, you loved me the whole time.
yeah,
I'm going to write this movie.
subtweet
Hang on,
in a bottle.
I have to go.
Just think about it. Just putting it out there in the world for you. Bored, idealist studio executives. No, so here's the thing. Apple, Tim Cook is like, we're going to double down on secrecy.
Right.
And then everything was leaked. And
Whoopsies.
they actually talked about it. You might have seen this before.
Right. I mean,
But I think for the iPhone, it's different because they've got to announce the iPhone,
Right.
they've got to do the pre-orders, and they got to start shipping them.
Right.
So they've got to like ramp manufacturing. I don't think they have a chance in hell of keeping that stuff secret.
Right.
Unless they say we're going to make you wait for 6 months, and then with the iPhone in particular, they won't sell any because everybody knows there's a new one.
Right. Well, so
for the watch, then that is a possibility because there's nothing
They
competing
won't
against.
have any manufacturing going on.
Yeah, right. It's like, here's a watch. You might see it in 6 months. There's no competition.
Exactly.
You're not
Right.
buying anything instead of it.
Right, and I think it's the same for the TV.
well, and that was the original iPad was that way, right? There was a big gap between when they announced it and when it went for sale.
This guy
And-
leaked the iPad.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, no, that wasn't like in the iPhone 4
The
picture,
original,
was it?
It was. We had a picture of the iPad. We
Right.
ran it, and then we confirmed it because we'd run a picture of the iPhone 4 and it was sitting in the background.
And we never know.
we had
No
noticed
one on the
it.
internet
Wow.
had noticed
Yeah.
for months.
That's crazy.
So I'm just saying,
This guy.
this guy leaked the iPad.
Okay, so my big question, and so they made a big deal out of the fingerprint stuff, the Touch ID.
Right.
And everybody at the event was all excited. They definitely had like the astroturfing people in the audience being like, oh my God.
No, those are just employees.
Yeah, just PR
They're
representatives.
just Apple employees.
No,
they're
they're-
the guys who made the fingerprint sensor.
Whatever. It's not impressive. That was the cool thing about being in this town hall, by the way, is I was like 2 rows back from Phil Schiller. I just
Yeah.
wanted to like reach out and touch his head, be like, hey, Phil.
Did you?
Hey, buddy.
Did you?
Hey. No.
He always wears what appears to be very soft shirts.
Yes.
It did look very soft. I agree.
It's just like
I would
a
hug
thing
that
does.
man, and it would be delightful.
I'm just saying, I've never come close enough to know. I mean, I've been, I've spoken to him,
Yeah.
but I've never like
You've just never
been
gone
so
for it.
close. To just, oh, that is soft.
I can
Take
leave
a
now.
note.
Yeah.
Wow.
Confirmed.
But so is this cool? Like I can't tell how much of it I was just sort of in the
so
bubble
let's just go
for.
over what they actually talked
Right.
about.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So the big news is actually, I think, not the 5S. The 5S is the phone that I will buy.
Right.
I think we're going to take calls. We're going to figure out. My guess is the vast majority of our readers are going to buy the 5S.
Sure.
Right.
The big news is the 5C. So they announced the iPhone 5C, which is basically the iPhone 5 in a colorful plastic shell.
Yeah.
With a bigger battery and a nicer front-facing camera. Right. It's the iPhone 5.
Yeah.
It's the internals of the iPhone 5. And
With like the external of a Lumia phone almost. It's like the
Right.
same kind of materials even.
Is that
Like
what-
the
is that what it feels like?
polycarbonate.
beautifully, unapologetically plastic. Can we run that clip? John, do you have
The audio
Johnny
of that?
Ive telling us how plastic is
It's,
plastic?
it's brilliant.
I mean, it's basically at the beginning. John's telling me he doesn't know where it is.
Unapologetically plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that was basically what he said. And they went through and but I kind of disagree that that's big news.
No,
I mean,
it's the
it
huge
should have
news.
been huge news. But
No,
then
no,
they
no,
come
no.
out and they're like,
It
well,
is absolutely.
it's
Here's why.
slightly less
Let me just tell you
expensive.
why. And I actually, it's funny that I wrote this for CNN and then I didn't send it. I sent it. I missed my deadline. Sorry.
Sorry, CNN.
Neil Patel.
But Gruber wrote basically the same thing. Here we
believe
go.
the iPhone is an experience that's defined by hardware and software working harmoniously together. We continue to refine that experience, dramatically blurring the boundaries between the two. making it more powerful, more intuitive, and ultimately more
You know what my
useful.
problem with this video is?
What?
Is he gonna say it?
iPhone
say it.
5C is beautifully, unapologetically plastic.
Yes.
Okay, we can stop. We can cut the
Multiple
audio.
parts.
Does Johnny
We're just
Ive
not
write his
really-
own poetry?
I just have a lot of things to say about this video. My the number one thing I want to say about this video, and it's a video I say about every video of every device and every phone from every company that shows me lots of colors of things, is the video is awesome because you have all of them, right?
Right.
It's like, oh man, I had the red iPhone and it turned into the icon and it scrolled up and then my iPhone turned green. It's like, wait a minute, I
Yeah.
just always have the blue one. And then you
Right.
leave this. It's like IKEA fatigue. Like, you know how you go to IKEA and you're always in a fight.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Honeymoon period's over. For That's what I'm hearing. So you go to IKEA with like your girlfriend and you get into a fight,
Sure.
and it's because at the end of it, you know, like IKEA is a conversation about commitment, right? It's like, God, I want all of the lamps. I
You
just
only
want
get
all
one.
these lamps, and you only get one. You're like,
Yeah.
crap, I picked this one, and
So
I
it's-
picked you, and you made me pick this one, and that is the iPhone 5C.
Should we say hi
Because
to
if you
Becky?
get the
Hi,
wrong
Becky.
color, you're going to lose your significant other.
If you get the wrong color, you're like, crap, I just have the green one forever, or for the remainder of my 2-year contract with AT&T.
Can you sign a 2-year contract with like your girlfriend? And
Yeah.
you're just like, after 2 years,
After 2 years,
we'll see.
I'm getting new IKEA. You basically signed a
Right.
2-year contract with IKEA.
That's true.
Right.
Right? I mean, you're committed to that bookshelf for 2 years,
Yeah.
and it falls apart.
No, it's great.
Like, I
I'm
need a new
moving and I'm
bookshelf.
just leaving all of my IKEA stuff. It's like you come with the apartment.
Yeah, you
now.
just throw it away.
Yeah.
When I left law
start
school, I
over.
literally threw my bedroom into the street and like left. I was like, some vagabond will want this. I'm sure somebody made a great beer pong table out of my desk.
No, but I mean, this is what everybody says about colors. I always ask. So, like, whenever I see, I meet with, Lenovo about laptops or Samsung about cameras or whatever, and they always have these crazy colors, and then they have black and white or black and silver. And I'm like, okay, well, they show like a pink digital camera, and I ask, who buys this?
Yeah.
And they say nobody. Like people love it, and they look at it, and they
Yeah.
see it in the stores, and they're like, that's really great, and then they buy a black one.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm sort of surprised that there isn't a black version of the 5C.
Well, so but here's
they're
I think-
forcing you to buy colors.
Yeah, but that's an
Which is
Apple move.
cool.
Right.
That's great.
Good-
But I
good on
know
them.
so. But here's the thing with the 5C. In the old Apple way, they would have the 5S. They would sell the 5 for $100, but they would not be able to advertise the 5.
Right.
Right? You can't market the
Buy
5.
our old phone.
It's
Right,
now
right.
cheaper.
It's a little bit cheaper. You can
Right.
advertise the 5S, and the 5S is all about the camera. I'm sure they're going to do all kinds of emotional ads
Right.
of people on boats.
The camera looks amazing, by the way.
Right, they're like sunset photos, send them to your kids, swelling music, probably the guy from Coldplay somewhere in the background.
No, it's
And
gonna be
then
Elvis Costello. He played a song called
They're not-
Tripwire.
they
It's
will
very
definitely-
They're not
emotional.
doubling down on
Apple's-
Elvis Costello.
Apple's emotional advertising is all Coldplay all the time.
That's fair.
And then the 5C commercials are going to be like iPod ads, like they're going to be bright and colorful, and like it's going to be the same IKEA problem I have all the time, which is it's going to show you all the colors. Like I have to pick
Right.
one.
Well, the thing is, like with the IKEA lamp, no offense, you can always throw that away and start over. With this, you're stuck for 2 years.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean,
Really, just a lot of sad commentary on all of our relationships going on in the Vergecast.
this is very sad.
But like I think that's a huge important distinction for Apple. And I think what Apple's saying is we don't have to make this cheaper to get market share. We just need to be able to do the thing we're good at, which is sell our products to people.
Right.
Which is like market our products to people.
Right.
And they couldn't market the 4 against the 4S. And they couldn't market the 5 against the 5S. So but now the 5C, the 5S, they're segmented. They can focus the ads. They can be different. They can have different messages for different audiences.
And they can make it about something much different than price. Like they can come out and say something other than just,
But the price,
this is the cheaper one.
But most people in the United States, the price is fine. It's $99.
Right.
Right.
It's do you want the HTC first or do you want the iPhone 5?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Instead of coming out and saying only this is the cheaper iPhone. If you want to pay less, pay this one. They have like an actual
Here's a new
argument
product.
they can make.
Right, and I think that's
It's new.
usually
It's colorful. It's
and I
pretty.
think that's
looking.
Apple's move here, and I think it makes the 5C much more important because it's the first time they've been able to advertise 2 different iPhones.
Sure.
But that doesn't make it anything more than an iPhone 5 in a different shell.
Right.
And that's like you can. I think you can. There's 2 ways to look at it. And it depends, I think, on your attitude towards Apple. One is like, this is Apple. If you're like, super pro Cupertino, you can say this is Apple being dominant and assertive and saying all we need to do to recapture the market share we're losing on the low end is create a new product, whatever that product looks like,
Right.
and market it and segment our line. If you're super cynical, You say this is a super cynical move by Apple to repackage it in some plastic shells and say this is a new product, and people are stupid and they'll buy it. The truth,
both of those things are probably true.
I'm sure the truth lies right down the middle. So let's take some calls. Which one are you going to buy? We've got some people on the phone, I think.
All right.
Okay, before we get to it.
Oh god.
Right before.
Why didn't
The
they make
people
it?
on the air are all just
No, forget the
They're all-
phone
they're all-
calls.
They'll get
I
here.
have a more important
They
question.
can wait.
So why go $99? Why not dumb it down to like the 4S
So this-
with specs with a case on it and make it free? Like that would have blown people's minds. And everybody's been saying we want a phone that goes into.
You need the bigger screen. Can't compete.
But you can- I
can't.
mean-
Samsung's out there
so,
with a
okay,
10-inch screen with like a 180 PPI
And you
resolution.
couldn't,
then
but you
put
couldn't do
a-
that with the with like.
No, take the iPod Touch and put a cell radio on it. Like, there's your cheap phone.
I don't think it works that way. Anyway, caller, you're on the line. 5S or 5C? Caller.
He's thinking.
He's very
Hello.
torn.
Hello, caller.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing all right. Okay, iPhone 5S or 5C?
5S.
Why's that? And what's your name, by the way?
That's important.
I'm Hiwa Habibi.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So you said 5S. Why
Yeah.
5S?
The fingerprint scanner is really appealing.
Why is that?
If,
You're
other,
the first person I've heard say that.
Other companies. What was that?
Yeah, I'm curious why that's the big thing.
Well, if other companies can take advantage of the commerce side, I don't know. I just every time I go shopping, I hate put in my username and password, and I don't know, feels like it's antiquated, out of date process. And if you can just use a fingerprint, it means it's a lot easier.
Yeah,
Right,
but
well, so let me understand. Like, so right now, though, Apple's not letting any third-party people use the fingerprint scanner for that. It's
yeah, but
just iTunes.
that's like
but like
one
we don't know
step
when.
at a time.
Right.
You validate it. You don't. I mean, this is the Apple way.
But this
right?
is
you ship the
aspirational
product.
then.
You like show people what it can do. You build demand. You're like, man, I can use my fingerprint to buy stuff in iTunes. Why can't I use it to?
But they could also just like.
There's no other app you can really.
But they also just like open the API and say, hey, if you guys want to use it, look, we'll lead the way. We'll show you it's fine.
Yeah.
And then just jump in. Now they're like, no, we're just going to hold on to it ourselves just for now. And
I mean,
we
look, I
can't tell
think
you
that-
when. We're going to give it to you.
I think the fingerprint scanner is cool. I do. I think it's a little gimmicky because it's a little gimmicky, right? I mean, but you know what people love? They love gimmicks. Like, I love Pacific Rim. And that's 90 minutes of a gimmick. Like,
So this is the Fast and Furious of like phone novelties.
no, I mean, it's just like it's sure it's a little gimmicky, but like that's fine. I think like people like that flash. I think people like the thing with Siri was you bought a new iPhone. And it came with Siri, and that was the Halo flagship feature, and you never used it. So at the end, you just had a phone that was marginally faster than your old phone. With the fingerprint scanner, every time you pick up your phone, if you use Touch ID to unlock the phone, every time you touch your new phone, you get the new feature. And I think that is actually really powerful for people.
Right.
And that is truly the power of the gimmick. But, caller, you're telling me that it's more than a gimmick to you. You actually see the real potential for commerce.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you?
I mean,
So give me some examples of what you're excited to do beyond just buy stuff.
To be honest, I mean, like I said before, if I want to go on eBay or Amazon, I don't want to always have to put in my password. It just sounds a lot.
You just want a
easier and
drunk
simpler.
online shop with zero
just like,
friction.
Look, I mean, it could be cool. Like, think about like Google Authenticator, like some kind of two-step authentication.
Yeah.
I put my password here. Is it really you? Let me just touch my phone.
Yeah.
Done. Set.
Gotcha. Okay, well, caller, thank you very much. We're going to take another one. I believe.
So
I'm not sure.
I will say I agree with this fundamental idea that passwords are terrible.
Yeah.
So I wrote about this thing last week called the NIMI or the NIMI or whatever. It's a bracelet that communicates with all your devices and theoretically lots more.
This isn't the thing that Nissan's like talking about, though. That's something
No.
separate.
So this is a company called BioNIM, and their big thing is I spoke to their CEO, and he was like, passwords are stupid.
Yeah.
And they are terrible, and they are hackable. And it's like, and he makes this really compelling case for why
Yeah.
passwords are just generally the worst. So anything that can obviate that is kind of a win in my book.
All right, we have another call. George from Pasadena.
Hey, George.
You're on the air.
up,
The
George?
Vergecast. 5S or 5C?
I'm getting a 5C for myself, and I'm getting a 5S for my wife, the
Whoa.
gold version.
Really?
Yeah, that's a complete inversion. Why is that? I mean, I guess it's not inversion.
I-
You could be like, I like colors and she likes a good camera. You never know. I mean, that makes sense. Is that the
when I
answer?
was giving my wife, when I was giving my wife the options, there's one in white, there's one in gold. I want the gold one.
Yeah.
Really?
No,
Sure.
Becky wants a gold one too. Immediately. It was the first thing she said to me. She wants a gold one.
Okay. Why?
But so that's like fine. I'm sure she'll be happy with the gold one. Why do you want a 5C?
I want a 5C for the polycarbonate back because I have an OtterBox case, and really, if the phone already has a polycarbonate back, then that does it for me. That's sold. That's a feature.
Wait, you're buying it for the...
Well, he's buying it because it's more durable.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of your case, is what you're
It's
saying.
more durable.
What
Yeah,
do you do that you need a more durable phone? I'm very curious.
Well, I keep pulling it out and into my pocket, and I walk around with
That'll
it.
do it.
Yeah,
That
with the
will do it.
iPhone 5, that's
That
pretty
will
much
do it,
all
yeah.
you need a case for.
Yeah, I mean, I have an OtterBox on an iPhone 5 right now, and I kid you not, I barely ever use it outside out of the fear of dropping it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I remember when
It's not that bad.
Well, the 5's not bad, but if you had the 4 and you remember those, like you flick it the wrong way, the whole screen shatters.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean the new
well-
5s. The new 5s are better, and I imagine that they've taken everything they've learned building the 5 over the past year and they're applying it to the 5S.
Yeah.
Because at launch 5s, I've said it a million times, were built like garbage. So wait, is your wife not worried about? So what phones do you have now? I guess is the first question. And my second question is your wife not worried about the durability of the 5S?
Well, my wife works in an office. So, I mean, the potentiality of her dropping it on the ground are like slim and none. And I work outside, outside on the freeways, on the sidewalk, showing houses, etc. And I'm going to get a red one from my mom because she likes the color red. And so that's a no-brainer there.
Yeah.
But for my kid brother, I'm going to get him the space gray one.
Yeah.
Because,
Space gray.
finally
gray.
finished college, so he deserves something. So there you go.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So,
good on you.
Solid gift.
Yeah, really. So you have iPhone 5s now? Is that what you said?
I have a 5S.
Okay.
My wife has a 5S. My mom has a 4, and my brother has a flip phone because I didn't want to get anything crazy. While
All right then.
That's fair.
Yeah. So these are. Wait, you said a 5S. You have a 4S, is what you meant.
I have a 4S.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So these are solid upgrades all around.
Yeah, absolutely.
George, let me ask: are you going to get one of those new Apple cases too, like color coordinate and all that?
No, because they look like Crocs. And
I've heard this so much.
Maybe that's what they were going
not
for.
wrong.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, and also they did the thing on the back where it says none.
It's the worst.
Right.
the worst.
Or hun, if you look at it the wrong way.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
So here's my
that
other
was
problem.
really
And George,
bad.
by the way, thank you very much for calling. Enjoy your iPhones. Like, I think I'm going 5S, but Becky, it's exactly right. My wife looked at it and said, "I want the gold one," like immediately. So that's awesome. But she's gonna take better pictures than you, so get ready for that. No, so my other problem with this video, and the 5C video in particular, is the product is so fun. Right? It's like colorful. The cases are fun.
Right.
And then it's like Apple's trick with Johnny Ive is to be so serious and emotional. He's like whispering about like this brightly colored plastic phone. And it's like, I know he has another emotion. Like, look at him. He's probably a fun guy.
No, I think that man, that is him being fun. That is
do you
fun.
think Johnny Ive is a fun guy?
I think
bet
he's
he's
super
not.
fun.
I bet he's not.
Designers are all fun.
Right.
That's just a rule that I have.
No, can't you imagine Johnny Ive like playing like Mario Kart? He's like, look at the spin of that shell.
No,
No,
I really
it's
can't.
beautiful.
No, I think this is the thing. I think Apple thinks that people love this Johnny Ive.
Yeah.
And they don't want to give the world like the rest of him. Like he can't
What is
be
the-
like that all the time.
Right.
Why not?
Because no human being can constantly whisper about things, like the shapes of things all the time.
I would love to have a beer with Johnny Ive and see him like talk about the beer for 10 minutes and
I
how
don't think he
beautiful
could do-
the bubbles are.
I
that
think
come
sometimes
off
dude
the
just wants to
beer.
have a beer. Like when there's this great scene in the Jobs book where like Bono is trying to convince Apple to make the black iPod, and he's like, he brings Johnny Ive to Dublin, and they get hammered, and they like call Steve Jobs, and Johnny Ive is like, we're gonna make a black iPod. It's gonna be great. Like, do you think that he and Bono were sitting getting hammered, whispering to each other about design?
Yes, I do.
I do not. I
absolutely
absolutely
do.
refuse to believe that.
I
was
believe
possible.
Johnny is whispering and Bono's just like blown away by everything that is said.
All right, we have another call.
All right, Jason from Cleveland, Ohio.
What's
Hello.
up, Jason?
Are you there? Or are you?
He's whispering.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Jason. So let me ask you a
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry, guys. What's going on?
Hello.
Hey.
Nothing much. We're just hanging. Welcome to the Vergecast. I have two questions for you. One, the first, obviously the most important question. Do you believe Johnny Ive has a secret, fun alter identity where he just like parties all the time?
Johnny with an H.
Johnny with an H. And
Absolutely.
and you would party with that Johnny Ive, right?
He's partying now.
Everybody
I think
wants
Johnny
to.
Ive is a little too crazy for me.
Everybody wants to get down with
See,
like
that
no
I can
rules
get.
Johnny Ive.
I can be into that. Where
Hello?
like when Johnny Ive parties, he parties.
Yes.
Like, Johnny Ive is like closing down a bar, or he's like sitting with a cigar, being douchey about design. Like those are the only two options.
No, but I think he can do all that with the whispery voice in an entourage of loud friends.
I believe you. I'm just saying. I think Apple is. I think they know that it works really well for the 5 when they did the iPhone 5, and they were like Johnny Ive was going to whisper about how beautiful it is and how it's inevitable. That's his favorite word for design is it's inevitable.
Yes.
That's great. Totally works. With the 5C, it's like, dude, it's an iPhone 5 in plastic case. Like, let's loosen up and have some fun. And he's like, and then we made this beautiful case. And everyone's like, dude, it looks like Crocs. All right. Sorry. Caller, 5S or 5C?
I am actually between a 5S and what looks to be the Nexus 5.
really?
Interesting. Why is that?
Well, I'm kind of in both ecosystems. I have a lot of Android stuff, and I have a couple of iOS devices. And I was sorely kind of tempted. I've never had an iPhone. I've always had Android phones.
Yeah.
Nexuses.
What do you have right now? Do you have Nexus 4?
And I was kind of sorely Nexus 4.
Okay.
And I was kind of sorely tempted by the iPhone 5. But I got it in hand, and it didn't blow my hair back. Like it just didn't do it for me. And then I saw the Nexus 4 and went with that. So I'm just kind of wondering is, if this is the iPhone, like I'm just going to get into it and, start using that and just see what it's like because, you can always kind of get the Nexus because that's off contract, that isn't so much.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, it's down between those two.
I'm actually having the biggest issue because I went to Moto X a couple weeks ago, just wanted to try it out. And I tried to go back to iPhone 5. I'm actually really annoyed with how segmented every app is.
Yeah.
Like the Gmail experience, any app experience,
Yeah.
I actually like the integration that I get
With
Android.
Yeah.
And even the
sharing stuff,
Anydo app,
yeah.
like just the to-do list, like it pops up, it integrates my phone. I love that.
Josh has texted you to say that. I mean, this is his entire Android argument.
I can check with.
No, Josh is not alone on this.
Right. No, I don't think he's wrong on it.
Josh is not alone on this. It's my hang up too. It's really my hang up too.
Because I think for normal
it's
people,
just like with Android, you
Right.
feel you fly around. So
no, you do and you don't. Like I actually don't have my HTC One down here today, but like I use both phones all the time, and when I come back to one, I always come back to the iPhone.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That happens to me too.
Huh?
That's what happens to me too. I fall in love with the phone and then I fall out of love with it and then I come back to the iPhone.
Well, and the reason, and it's not because the Google services that I use are better on the iPhone. That is absolutely not true. They're way better. And some of the integration, the Android phones are way more like computers. I like computers. I like to screw with them and like make them do what I want. But the iPhone is like, I make love to robots every night.
Welcome to the Vergecast.
What just happened?
Look, no, I'm just saying.
confessions
Here's the
are
thing with the
among us.
iPhone: the simple core things that I do on a phone are better on an iPhone. I browse to websites in Safari. It's still or in a browser that is still better on an iPhone. Android is really, really close, but it is not quite as good. Media playback is still a little bit better on the iPhone. Android's getting better, but I think there's actually more of a distance between that media playback and Android than with web browsing. And lastly, I've never seen an Android camera that is anywhere near as good as the iPhone.
No, this
Yeah,
is
so
true. This is
Jason,
true.
I think your name is Jason. If it's not, I've just decided your name is Jason.
Cleveland, Ohio.
What are you waiting for from the Nexus 5? Like you have a Nexus 4 now. What are you
LTE.
waiting for?
What-
No, I mean like what's
More
going to
than a
make your
dual-core
decision for
processor.
you? Presumably it's going to have LTE.
Design
like,
that doesn't look like an old BlackBerry.
Jason, what you want?
Are you
Sorry.
Jason? Neil, say your name.
stop that.
No, so what are you waiting for?
I don't see. That's the big question. It's iOS 7 and the iPhone 5S. They're kind of givens, aren't they? I mean, we've seen the software out there. They've tweaked it in terms of iOS 7. I don't know what they're going to do with 4.4. What Google's is.
They named it after a candy bar, man. What more do you need? It's going to be great. It's going to be delicious.
Candy.
No, I mean, they just put out 4.3. I don't understand that either. They just put out 4.3. Why? Like months ago. Not even like I have Nexus devices that I still haven't updated to 4.3 because I'm lazy. I don't understand why they're in such a rush.
And that's the thing. I have no idea in terms of user experience what they're going to change. And the real big hang up for me between the two of them, I'm worried about iOS 7 kind of the look of it.
honestly. Like, it's one thing to make an operating system easy. It's another one to kind of be a little bit on the childish side. I don't want to go so far as to say that iOS 7 is childish, but with all those pastels and all the icons and everything, I mean, I'm an adult with an adult job at this point. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
But if I whip this phone out and ooh, look at all the colors and pastels and floaty things. I want something that sort of treats me like an adult.
You understand that if you buy a Nexus 5, wait, I just want to be very clear on this. You understand that if you buy a Nexus 5, the operating system will literally be named after candy. I'm just putting that out there.
And I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with colors. I like my colors here.
I'm sorry to tease you. It's just truth. Just real talk.
If all the icons look like candy bars, there'll be a problem. All right, but the naming convention doesn't so much bother me as kind of these bright pastels like in my face and all.
But it's not. So,
and crap. I didn't.
But I think like Apple's default wallpaper is. It colors a lot of people's perception of the operating system.
And they've pulled it back. Like if you look at the recent versions, Aaron wrote a piece, and it's like you see the difference between what it looked like before, which was kind of childish, frankly, and now they've pulled way back.
And I will say it's insane to me that they haven't changed some of these icons.
Right.
That Game Center icon. Can we put up the Game Center icon on the screen?
Please,
this icon is so bad.
I just don't want to.
I mean, it looks like somebody had to design like a logo for like a bad conference. Like this is like the logo for like
I see what you're saying.
It's like the logo for like a fitness conference.
Someone had a pack of
draw
highlighters,
a bunch of bubbles.
and they're like, let's see how this highlighter looks. It looks good.
Look, so I think the icons are like one thing, but once you get into the OS, it's mostly black and white, right? I mean, and the one thing that I have not seen with iOS 7 is like on an iPad. And everyone has been tweeting. I tweeted it the other day during the event. I've never seen Apple live demo iOS 7 on iPad. And everyone's like, that's because it sucks. Those are all the responses from all the people who've been using the betas. So I haven't used it on an iPad. I don't actually.
I mean, all I've ever seen is that one screenshot that they showed. That was it. It was like
it's
2
strange.
seconds.
So,
it was like, also iPad, and then moved on.
So this Game Center, come on, man.
Really?
What is
it's real
this?
Bad. I mean, it's better.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
No, seriously. Welcome to Yoga Convention 2013 in Sarasota. Like, what is that?
A lot of bubbles.
So here's caller. We're gonna wrap this up. But I guess at the end of the day, it's like you can pick Android and iOS now. I think iOS 7 has made some big gains. I think being able to pick default apps is like still a big hang up for me in iOS.
Right.
Being able to pick not handlers. There's another word I mean. Sharing stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Being able to share and have different apps like in the share seat. But those are for 99% of people. Those are really small quibbles. I think stuff like they optimized battery life, hardware and software together is a really big deal. And with the 5, they fell down. I hope they pick it up on the 5S. And I think stuff like the OS looks new is going to be a huge selling point for a lot of people. Whether or not this candy color stuff is a big deal. So, caller, thank you. I don't know. Do we have more people? Should we move on? Should we talk about other iOS stuff? Should we talk about iOS 7?
I mean, we can. So what? Like,
we should talk about 64-bit. We should probably talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, because a lot of people are asking, like, what does this mean to me?
Right.
Like, does it make a difference anytime in the near future? And like, I don't think so.
It's sort of. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I think Apple really wants to talk about how. There's this sort of meaningless spec race going on in the Android world where everybody has more cores that don't do anything because all your games use 1 or 2. And that they're, starting this brand new thing. And like, that's definitely true, which is nice.
Yeah.
But as best I can tell, the biggest thing is that it's going to make developing apps for iOS easier.
Right.
And that's it. Like you're going to be able to make
the short term
more powerful apps more easily now. And longer term, I think the switch, as Apple, like eventually we're all going to switch to 64-bit. Everybody's going to have to. It's just, but like that's probably a long way away. And Aaron Suporis, I think I've never learned how to pronounce his last name.
Really?
That's a fun fact.
It's probably because you can't understand him when he pronounces it for you.
Wow.
But so, I mean, he wrote this great piece about this.
He's very handsome. His new About page, we have a new About page's photo. He looks like he's in One Direction.
I know.
Just putting that out there.
Listen, it's fine.
When I get drunk, I can understand every word he says.
Or so you believe.
I'm going to write that on Aaron's tombstone someday. No, but so he interviewed an analyst for this piece who said, basically, right now, it's neither good nor bad. It just is.
Right.
And eventually, it's going to mean performance bumps, and it's going to mean developing gets even easier. But for right now, it's just sort of it's future-proof, I guess, as opposed to being like a big, huge change right now.
So I guess right now it wouldn't affect people making this stuff because if you're making an app right now, you're probably making 32-bit, so it's compatible. Is there a compatibility issue if you did program for 64?
No.
Okay.
It's
because Apple controls end-to-end the development of iPhone apps, right?
Right.
So here's an interesting factoid for the Vergecast listener: Aaron's post, why Apple 64-bit iPhone chip is a bigger deal than you think, which you should read.
It's very good.
If you haven't, but here's what I suspect. I suspect you already read it because it has been far and away the most popular post on our site today. And I think that speaks to a lot of just desire people have for these phones to actually begin to replace computers, and for these mobile operating systems and mobile platforms to like sweep away kind of the cruft of the computing scene right now. Because
well, and it removes. I mean, it speaks to like bringing iOS and OS 10 closer together. Like the development process between one and the other just got a lot easier.
I think the potential for there to be a MacBook form factor iOS device, like a laptop.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know if they'll call it a MacBook. There's a lot of.
The iBook. Whatever happened to the iBook?
Yeah, not using that anymore.
Yeah, that'd be wild. I think that potential is very high for Apple now. But like, what's an iBook? Is it running iOS? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Then it's an iPad with a keyboard.
I'm just looking at pictures of iBooks right now. I'm not even paying attention.
The first iBook looked insane.
I loved this thing.
The orange one. My roommate had the orange one, and my
I gotta look this up.
My girlfriend at the time had the.
Oh,
blue
that
one.
was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was the
It
best.
looked like a toilet.
It did actually.
I mean,
did
straight
kind
up
of
just
look
looked
like
like
a
a
What
toilet
color
seat cover.
toilet do
Yeah.
you have?
I like a really happy toilet. It's like what? No, look. I mean, just look at it. We have somebody on the phone.
Who wants to talk about
What color toilet did you buy in 2001
And why?
when the iBook came out? What's that? Who do we have on the phone? What's her name? Okay, Chris.
from Australia?
from Australia.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, how are you? You can feel free to riff on Apple, but you have to ask our question: 5S or 5C? Answer our question, I should say.
I was thinking about getting the 5S, but I just got the iPhone 5, so I'm not sure. But the thing about the 5S that really got me was the M7 chip.
Yeah.
So I'm like a Fitbit crazy person who loves a lot, even if it's just like stupid data. I love all that stuff, and while other phones have it, Apple's got like Nike on board.
Yeah.
And they've got the chip, and it's like super interesting. Like if developers can actually like access that, what people might actually do.
Well, so there's an API, right? There's the Core Motion API. So Apple, and I have to say, this is one of those things where until like Anand Tech actually pulls this apart, we're not going to know. And I just trust Anand, so I'm just going to let him do it.
Right.
But the M7, the messaging around the M7 is almost exactly like what Motorola said with the Moto X, right?
Yep.
They're like, we have a new processing platform. It's called X8. We've got 4 cores of CPU and then like a core dedicated just to tracking motion.
Right.
And that's exactly what Apple said, right?
Yep.
We don't know how many cores the A7 is.
Hundreds
of
thousands.
So this is a phenomenon now, right? Like where you start to dedicate a DSP just to tracking motion, right? And so it's cool. They are getting the developer support to do it in a way that Motorola maybe can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Or unless Samsung does it, and Samsung will probably just not do it.
So the question I've had about this, and I don't remember.
They'll just throw more battery at it. They'll make the screen bigger, make the battery bigger.
Not necessarily always bad, but like, so the question I have about this, like, this is going to make the phone itself easier for tracking. Does it ever augment any wearable technology?
Well, so here's the thing. No, I don't. And I think Chris from Australia on the phone. Here's my question for you. So I am right now wearing a Fitbit. Where I'll never tell. Just very disturbing.
I have the worst mental images right now.
It rhymes
So
with
no, I
cross.
have it. So I have a Fitbit, and I leave my phone all the time. Right, I don't have my phone on my person all the time. My Fitbit's just like clipped to the inside pocket. Like, are you going to keep your phone on you all the time? Because I think that's the Fitbit use case. Like, it isn't meant to just be on your person and to be ignored, whereas a phone is like a very active thing that you like leave on tables and walk away.
Right.
Are you worried about that, Chris? Did I blow your mind?
I always keep mine in my pocket, and the thing is like, yeah. And also things like you could think of things like fitocracy, which you had on Small Empires a while ago, where it's there could be incentive to actually try and keep it in your pocket, where like something new comes out. Like not everyone can make a physical like piece of hardware to track your steps, but if Apple provides the hardware, then actually having developers make things for it is interesting.
No, I agree. I mean,
if I had an incentive to keep it up.
And I think that there's probably a way, like a good way for Fitbit. Like, even if you are Fitbit or you are Nike and you're making the hardware, what's the other one? Shine. There's another one. There's another.
Not Whim. No, that was.
There's another tracker that's out there in the world.
There's like a million.
Right. So even if you are a tracker hardware,
Yeah.
Jawbone, you're another tracker hardware company. You can use the data from the iPhone to make your tracking data better. Right. And you can. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. So I think it's really interesting. And Apple is in the unique position to get developers on board because they get the big install base. But here's the thing: the people with the 5S, they're the ones who are going to get all the benefit right now, and the people with the 5C, which Apple's going to market just as hard as anything, they maybe won't get as much of a direct benefit. So it's you have to target 5S owners when Apple's going to be marketing the 5C. So I think it's really interesting. I think next year when it's everywhere and it's in all the phones Apple sells. Like, it'll be tremendous.
Wait, so, I mean, are you thinking they're not going to be marketing the 5S as hard?
I think they will. I think they want to sell a lot of 5Cs. That's my guess.
I would
Really?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine the profit margin is a little higher because it is like years old software. It's
Dude, you
much
know how I
cheaper
know they
case.
want to sell a lot of 5Cs? Because if you go to apple.com,
Good point.
It's the
It's a
5C.
website.
So it's a website. It's just
sub.
bang. It's the 5C. And
Oh wow! Holy crap! That's
Yeah.
the entire website.
It's
You
the
got blue,
whole
I got
website.
yellow.
So, yeah, they changed
Blue's
the color.
better. Suck it.
I think they want to sell a
right.
lot of 5Cs.
Red.
And I think all the stuff
Refresh.
they're doing
Green.
in the 5S is it's like aspirational. I think a lot. Look, I'm going to buy a 5S. Almost everyone we've talked to, even if they're buying a 5C for themselves or buying a 5S for somebody else, they're going to sell a lot of both of these phones. I just think that their goal is to market and sell the hell out of the 5C.
So okay, I'm actually glad we brought up the M7, which
Yeah.
I want to keep talking about because
Chris,
I think.
by the way, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so
Can I
much.
just ask a question about
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Go.
Yeah.
The studio's laughing. The control room is laughing at us because you just completely subverted us. Go, but
What's the
ask
question?
your question. He's gone.
Oh no.
Bye, Chris.
Sorry, Chris.
All right, so the M7.
Just tweet the question at us.
One of the things Apple says about the
Well,
M7
okay.
is it says M7 knows when you're walking, running, or even driving. For example, Maps switches from driving to walking, turn-by-turn navigation if, say, you park and continue on foot. It also knows if you're driving, so it won't ask you to join all the Wi-Fi networks
That
that you
is the
drive
best
past.
feature of the M7.
Like, so all these things, it's like, this is what I want Motorola to do desperately. Is
Yeah.
basically what it does right now is Motorola figures out like, oh, you're moving fast. I bet you're driving.
Right.
And just jumps you into driving mode, which is this really sort of kludgy, like sledgehammer way of doing what Apple, it seems like, might be able to do really gracefully. And that's really cool. And I think with the fitness stuff, it's what Apple's presenting is the opportunity for like the people who strap their phone to their arm and run.
Right.
Like that's all a lot of people want is to know like how far did I run, how fast, how many calories did I burn, and that's all here now. And then if you can marry that with like all this stuff behind the scenes that makes it less awful to use your phone sometimes, that's huge.
I mean, look, I think that's great for 5S owners.
Sure,
But you've got to find the intersection of the market who want to strap. If people want to strap a phone to their arm and run with it, and people who are going to buy the 5S over the 5C, over already have the 4S, right? And like, I don't think the intersection is so big, like that Venn diagram is so big in the middle of people who love to run and who are going to buy a 5S because it'll make running a little bit better.
But the narrative
because
here
you know
is
what they can buy instead? A $99 Fitbit.
right.
And I think that's like, you have to ask them to do a lot. Like, it will get there. I have no doubt that it will get there. I just don't think it's like a purchase driver in the way that it may one day become over an Android phone.
Right. So
Right. No, that's fair.
The narrative here is like runs very parallel to the Touch ID. There's a couple cute little gimmicks. It sounds very interesting. It doesn't do much, but obviously next year, like Dave was mentioning, it's these more subtle things. I
What
think
was
will become a
the
bigger
when
deal.
when the iPhone 4, I think it was the 4, and it had the gyroscope in it, and there was like 2 games that came out that were
Yeah.
amazing. And that was all I needed. Right? I was like, this game. There was some shooting game that was amazing, and it was like it
what
felt
was
super
it?
1-to-1. It was like a shooting range. It was
Super
dumb game.
WWDC 2010.
But it was awesome, right? And that's right now. Those are these features. Like that thing had a gyroscope.
Yeah.
It was no phone had a gyroscope before.
Right.
And like here's one game like takes advantage of it. And that, by the way, I have that feeling a lot. Like with many products, they have a feature that's like a chip or an API or something. It's like, I need a third-party app to use this. And then I spend all of my time waiting for that first third-party app to be there just so I can be like, I finally fired up that gyroscope. And I think that's going to be the sort of the experience of the M7 for this first wave.
Right.
And then I think we'll just, like the gyroscope, I will just completely take it for granted after that. Which is cool.
Right. I think so too. I think gaming is obviously a huge part of this whole thing, and that's one of the things we thought they were going to talk about and didn't.
Yeah. Didn't because they did at least do their Halo product, their Infinity Blade.
Well, which I was just going to say looked incredible. Like I can't overstate how good it looked. It was. I assumed it was a demo or a trailer or something, and then you look over to the left, and the guy's just standing there playing on a gold 5S.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. I mean, Infinity Blade has always kind of looked fantastic, but this was on sort of a different level.
We were talking during
if you
the
spend
event,
5 minutes playing that in a store, like the smartest thing Apple could do would be to load Infinity Blade 3 on every single 5S, and you're going to buy that phone. It looks amazing.
So we were talking the day of the event how Infinity Blade has sort of become Apple's Halo.
Right.
Yeah.
It's their console.
Every event they have when they unveil a new iPhone, there's an Infinity Blade.
Yeah, totally.
2010, 11, and now 13.
And so
next, Steven Spielberg is going to make a TV show.
Is it really?
Oh God, why?
I half believe you.
All right, we've been talking about Apple for a long time. I mean, here's the thing about this event, and just to like put a pin in it, it was incredibly fast.
Yep.
It was an hour, like start to finish, like bang, they were done. They talked about iOS 7 for 10 seconds. Well, and look at it; it's really pretty. Everything's the same.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it was weird. So we one of the things you said to me when we were preparing for the thing is you were like, don't worry, it's really easy to take photos because they talk about everything so slowly. And then Craig gets up there and he's like, look, here's a feature, and there's another one, bye. And I was like, what just happened?
It's like,
don't
worry about the
I've
looks,
never
just
seen
here's how
Apple.
it
It's like the traditional thing that Apple does is like, iOS 7 is so great. So many new features. We're going to talk about just 10 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And the first feature
and there's
is
an
a
icon for each
redesigned
one.
interface.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then like 20 minutes later, the second feature is an all-new mail app with VIP filters. And if you're sitting there in the audience, like, you can't be serious. Like, okay.
And not to mention, like, they would have done this, like, when they first unveiled iOS, and then again with the phone thing, because they want to remind you of how great it is.
No, they went through iOS 7. And I don't know who said this to me. Apple's messaging around iOS 7 has changed subtly. They've gone from brand new revolution. You said this.
I said that, yeah.
They've gone from like, here's a brand new revolution to this is just the same, only it's prettier.
Right.
And I think they know that there's a danger of scaring people away from what they know and love. But
so we should move on, but we have one more call before we do.
Yeah.
Right. So hello, caller.
Corey from Philadelphia.
What's up, Corey?
Hi there.
Hey. All right. So iPhone 5S or 5C?
For me, I don't think I'd be purchasing either. However, they are some pretty cool phones. My main thing about them is, it just it doesn't strike a chord with me. I've owned iOS devices. However, nothing's really sunk in with me, and I haven't really purchased myself into the ecosystem that much.
Yeah. I mean, what are you using right now? Do you say? Did I miss it?
Currently I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Nexus.
Okay. All right.
So you're probably due for an upgrade.
At the end.
Yeah.
I'm looking for an upgrade. Logically, for me, I've been a big fan of the Nexus line, so I'll probably purchase the Nexus 5.
Yeah. I mean, so the Galaxy Nexus, it's gotten some upgrades, right? I mean, it's up to 4.2 at least.
Yeah.
Right? You're not on the Verizon one, or are you in the stock? You're in the stock one or the Verizon one?
I'm actually running a ROM Paranoid Android right now.
Like any good Galaxy Nexus user.
Yeah, right. Logically, it looks like what Apple's been doing is really great. And as far as security, I'm an IT guy myself, and security looks great with that with the fingerprint scanner. However, I think it's going to be like what they've done before, where they just take that, they put a big old patent that is really broad, and they just use it to inhibit the whole market.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've covered a lot of Apple patent stuff. It's not going to matter. I mean, every other company has learned about how to dodge Apple's patents.
Right.
It's just true. I mean, they're not getting into new patent lawsuits. Or, Apple and Samsung they have enough money to sue each other forever. It doesn't matter. Like, every phone company in the world will have a fingerprint sensor next year. Yeah, and it's just gonna. It's trust me. And actually, some of them will be better than Apple's because they can't do what Apple did, so they have to design around it, and that forces them to design different things, and that means just statistically, some of them will be better.
Oh, that reminds me. There was thank you, by the way. There was this tweet that Motorola did yesterday. Chris Ziegler was talking about in chat. And he was really upset he didn't get a chance to be snarky back. It was a Motorola tweet about why would anyone want to use fingerprint sensors? And it's like, dude, you made the Atrix.
Yeah.
So I read that as them being like, look, we figured out a long time ago nobody wants fingerprint sensors. I don't know, but so we should move on because there are other cool things to talk about, including the thing I might be even more excited about.
Oh, yeah.
Totally irrationally.
What's that?
Mostly because I can't get it.
Oh, hold on. I'm being told that there's some clip they want to play right as soon as we get out of these calls. So
Johnny Ive is going to play us out.
Yeah, Johnny Ive play us out.
As it should be.
Ive. By the way, 2 phones, and it just... Oh, there, it's old Johnny Ive.
He's so handsome.
What is that jacket?
It's a magic.
Is there sound, John?
This is an.
I like to imagine that you just. It doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah,
he's just Johnny Ive.
Is a beautiful.
I know. I've seen the clip. I know what he's saying.
Cardigan.
Yeah.
Can we play it with sound?
Can you do your Johnny Ive impression? Can you speak?
No,
for
we
him?
can't. We clearly.
No.
All right. Well.
Well, we tried. All right.
So
play
the
us out,
thing
Johnny Ive.
I want to talk about is the Sony PlayStation Vita TV.
I'm excited.
Which is just a
Can I just say that one thing we need to say about Apple?
Yeah, go.
There will probably be another event next month. This event was an hour. They barely talked about iOS 7. They haven't showed an iPad. They talked about 2 phones, and they got off the stage. Elvis Costello lit it up. Just went nuts.
They spent more time on Elvis Costello than anything else. He was a third of the event, which was hilarious.
So
I was sitting
were,
next to Dieter. I just kept taking pictures because I was like, well, there's nothing else to do.
That's what you do. That's how an Apple event ends.
Yeah.
So there will almost certainly next month be new iPads, new Macs, maybe something else. Who knows?
Mavericks is coming.
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually.
PS Vita TV.
Okay, so PS Vita TV. So help me understand this. So basically, as I understand it, it's part set-top box.
Huge fail.
It's part set-top box.
It's part set-top box, part extender for the PS4, so it'll let you play games on a different screen wirelessly than the one that the thing is connected to, which is just crazy.
Essentially, it's a PS Vita for your TV, so that's lame, that's boring.
What does that even mean?
It just means you can get the Vita. Right now, you can get a Vita and you can actually plug it into your TV and use that as a bigger screen. This just takes out the screen and it's a home console for the Vita.
Right.
But the cool thing, and I'm with you, the cool thing for me is it's an extender. So if I got 2 TVs, one has the PS4, I can just not have to disconnect anything. I can just use the other TV, use it as an extender, and play the PlayStation 4
Right.
remotely.
So what I think is hilarious is this is they're kind of poking at the one cool thing about the Wii U and the one thing that the Xbox has over it all at once. They're like, look, we have all the TV features, and you remember that thing about how you can just play the Wii U on your controller? Well, now you can do it on a different TV in a way that doesn't suck, and we have fun games that you actually want to play.
And there are caveats, of course. Also, it's using the DualShock 3 controller, the current PlayStation controller, so you can't do some of the games.
Which is a shame.
Whatever, but it's a cool idea. I don't know if I'll ever use it. But
you'll never use it because they're only going to sell in Japan. They won't sell any of them.
Well, that's the problem.
Right.
I mean, great, Sony, you made another box to go under the TV. The only time that's ever been successful for you has been the PlayStation, and various $100 Blu-ray players.
Right. It's really surprising to me that this isn't just built into the PS4, or that it won't be sometime very soon.
That you can't play Vita games on PS4?
Me. Yeah, I mean, all of this stuff seems like it would be a really great thing for Sony to have gotten up in February or whenever that event was and say, here are the cool things that's built in. If they had gotten up and said, there's a built-in extender that you plug it into one TV and we'll let you play it on another TV, people's minds would have just exploded.
A built-in
out of their
is
heads.
A separate piece of device you can already buy, or do you mean
No, they're this is just part of the PS4. This is a thing that it lets it.
So how would you extend to the other TV?
I don't know. Don't ask questions.
You're not making any sense. First of all, second of all, I just don't. Everyone was so excited about this,
right?
And I'm more excited about the Slim Vita, which is just
that's.
I mean, honestly,
sad state of affairs.
Why would you be? It's a box that goes on your TV that does it still have the Vita interface, the bubbles, the circles? I'm assuming it does.
It probably
the Vita
does.
is you have to love Vita games to want anything about a Vita. That's
the story of every video game console. The interfaces all suck, and you get one based on the games. Is the interface good enough to get to the game?
I don't get it. The Vita is
And this
cool
is the
looking.
thinner Vita
Every
right
time
now.
I see the thin Vita, even the original Vita, I'm like, that looks cool. I want it. Like I
Colors.
want buttons. You know what game they don't have for the Vita? I would buy a Vita immediately if they had this game for
Right.
it. Madden 25. Every time I get into bed, I'm
All
like,
right, fair
because
enough.
I like put myself in the sleepy zone playing Madden on the
Nice.
couch, and then I like by the time I'm like all ready for bed, I'm like awake again.
Nice.
And I'm holding my iPad. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, playing Madden on the iPad on any touchscreen is just miserable.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But they don't have it for the Vita. You know why? Because nobody buys Vita.
I'm actually surprised. For some reason, I thut it was going to come out at some point. Nope.
Nope.
You're absolutely right.
Womp womp.
Yeah, no, you can get Madden 13
Just
for like
iOS.
$12. That's great. Cool. You know, ain't no Eddie Lacy in Madden. Look, all I'm saying is like,
Ain't no Eddie, really?
There's
Yeah.
no game support.
Wow.
Is what you're saying. There's like
I'm
EA
excited
Sports
about
is
my
not
team
giving
this year.
it.
They're
It's
really
like
good. They're real good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the games I want aren't for the Vita because people don't buy Vitas.
Okay.
The games are going to these phones and saying we're going to take our other mobile platform that people aren't buying so much of and stick that under your TV instead of bringing Android to the TV, which they've already tried and failed to do. It's like, did you learn any lessons here at all? Have you thought this through at all, Sony?
Yeah.
Like, BTW, you should probably focus on the PS4.
Well, this is why I wish, like, if you had, Madden 25 and on your iPad and a controller that is theoretically supported now in iOS
Yeah,
7
right.
and an Apple TV, then, like, you just solved your problem. And that's why I wish they talked about it. That's why, like,
They're
not to go back to
But
Apple.
Someday
they
they're
may,
gonna talk
they
about
may
this.
talk about
They
that.
have
I just
to
think the Vita
eventually,
TV
right?
is like it's Sony desperately trying to like find a way to compete with the Apple TV and not knowing why the Apple TV is successful. And the Apple TV is not successful because it plays clearly not because it plays games.
Right.
It's successful, I think, for three reasons. One, it's super simple Netflix. I think people love Netflix. They spend $100 on Netflix.
Yep.
Right.
Two, it has Apple's catalog of movies. And three, if you have an iPhone, it has AirPlay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And
I
four,
think
it's $99.
it's cheap.
Yeah.
And it's just a cheap way. Like, there are, I was just saying before on the show, I'm also like buying a new receiver. Josh just bought a new receiver, and then I ended up buying a new receiver. So
Which is the worst thing in the world to try
everyone's
and buy,
gonna.
by the way.
No, it's fine. It's like super easy to figure out which one to buy. Super great. Market's very clear. Every company doesn't make 15 of the same product. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's great.
But a lot of the receiver companies straight up advertise that their remotes come pre-programmed for the Apple TV
Yeah.
because they know that they're like, the first thing you're gonna plug into this is a cable box and Apple TV.
Yep.
We
Right.
can't pre-program for a cable box. We'll just pre-program for this other thing you can get. And for Sony to be like, the Vita is gonna compete with that experience. Does the Vita TV? It's only in Japan, but it doesn't have Netflix. Does it have Sony's Video
Wait, does it
Unlimited?
have Netflix?
Yeah, it does.
It does. Does
Oh,
it?
yeah.
But it has Video Unlimited.
Yes.
I just think that this
Yes.
this
Yeah.
product is focused like on the wrong thing. Like, let's put Vita games on a TV instead of like, let's do the media consumption people want to do.
Well, it has.
Well, wait,
I mean,
how-
it
like-
has some of the big ones
It
in
has
Japan.
Hulu.
Like Netflix.
Yeah.
Is Netflix in Japan at all?
I don't know anything about
Yeah, I
Japan.
mean, here's the
We
thing.
should
Like,
ask our Japanese
it's
reporters
not
about
hard
this.
for any box. Every box has Netflix now.
Yeah.
Like even the PS4, like they're not talking about it, but like like yes, you're gonna get Netflix, you're gonna
Right.
get Hulu. Of course you are.
Right.
And there
they
is
will play
Hulu
the
on the
video.
Vita TV, by the way. That's a fun fact for
They
you.
have Hulu,
Yeah.
Tsutaya TV or something like that, and Nico Nico Duga.
Which
I
is just
completely just botched all.
phenomenal name.
I should not even
really
try
great.
that.
Not
Sorry,
all
guys.
Vita games will be supported. Like, all right, whatever. Let's get off the Vita TV.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean, you're
that's-
excited. And we're gonna
I
have a
mean-
review. We've got people in Japan. We're gonna play with it.
No, I think it's like it's exactly what Sony should be doing.
Yeah.
Like they're filling. This is a weird way to fill a big gap that they clearly had, but they're filling that gap, and like yay for them doing that.
If you saw a Vita TV in Best Buy, would you buy one?
No, because I don't own a Vita or a PS4.
That's their whole aim.
But if I did, like, and there are lots of those people.
Sure there are.
But and also to be clear, like
Sure there are.
also to be
Well, I guess
clear, like,
nobody owns a
This
PS4.
Vita TV is coming out about the time the PS4 was supposed to come out in Japan, and
Right.
it's not. They just pushed it back to February.
Right. But it's not going to come out, right now in North America at all.
Right. There's no details at all for North America or Europe. Europe being Sony's bigger, like, of the two markets.
And this idea that you're going to like pick up this box and open a flap and like stick something in. Come on.
Just yeah.
All right, let's move on.
angry.
We already talked about the Nexus 5.
Yeah, we don't do
All
that
right, let's talk about Netflix.
actually.
Let's talk about Netflix.
Let's talk about Netflix.
All right, and we got to wrap up.
We can talk about Better Call Saul and Netflix all at
Okay.
once.
They're kind of the
which
same
I think we
story
should
in a
do.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. So
and the new Harry Potter.
And
And
the
the
Harry
Surface.
Potter.
We should probably
wait. So I'll be honest.
There's a
I don't
lot
know.
of stuff.
I know nothing
I'm gonna
about
watch
the new Harry Potter.
movie on my new Surface.
Tell me about the new Harry Potter. I missed it entirely. What's the deal? What's
There's nothing
happening?
to say.
No,
Look,
like really.
Here's the only joke that you need to know about the Harry Potter
hit me.
movie. She's gonna write. J.K. Rowling's gonna write a new Harry Potter movie.
Okay.
It's not about Harry Potter.
Is it about Neville?
It's not about Neville. It's not about
Well,
any
then
of
I
those
don't
people. It's I'm assuming it's a prequel because the main character is like some throwaway name that was mentioned who like, like
Newt Scamander.
Hermione.
Emma Watson is reading Hermione.
Oh.
Emma Watson.
She's Emma
I'm glad
to
you
me.
know that. That's good. Yeah. She's Emma to me.
We're close.
Oh wow. Yeah. So
I have nothing to say to that.
the author of a textbook in the Harry Potter
Right.
universe.
Yeah. So but then the quote, her quote is, "I always swore I would never return to the Wizarding World unless I had a really good idea."
So is it that J.K.
And the-
Rowling
and
wants
the
to buy
idea,
8 more houses?
Yeah, the idea is that she wants more money.
Yeah.
Like that's the only idea.
Yeah.
Also, that she phrased it as a return to the Wizarding World, is that that's a real place that she can go.
She's like, I haven't been there in a while.
You made it all up.
But she has enough money to build a Wizarding World.
Whatever. Shut up, Muggle. Let's talk about Better
Can you
Call.
say that on the Verge?
Shut up, Muggle.
Better Call Saul. So this has been rumored for ages and ages that they want to do some Breaking Bad spinoff because having the show, and I'm being a little angry here, having the show just be a pure thing is not enough. They want to keep it going. I think, David, you had the best analogy earlier.
Well, so I'm currently like really terrified of the idea of spoiling things. So if I do, I'm sorry. You can just come kill me in my sleep. No, but this is Joey. This is
You
them
think
spinning
you
off
saying
Friends into
Joey
Joey.
is
No, I'm afraid next time in a minute I'm going to spoil things by
Okay.
accident because I just watched the most recent episode.
Yeah.
No,
last
no,
night.
no, we
This
will
is what
not
I'm
have
saying.
spoilers.
This is
please.
what I'm
We
saying.
will
I
not
won't
have
spoil
spoilers.
anything. I promise.
But it's a prequel.
But it's already a prequel, so
It's a
you
prequel,
can't-
so
you can't spoil anything.
we know Saul was alive and all that.
Right. So it's a prequel. It's
He was
based
born
on
at some
Saul
point.
Goodman, the lawyer, and it's a prequel.
This
But
is gonna suck.
I can't imagine a world in which this is a good show.
If Huel, the bodyguard, is there in every scene, it's gonna be awesome.
No, it's just like
For
Saul's
one
great.
episode.
He's a good character, but he's definitely the comic relief of
Right.
Breaking Bad. And to build, this is what you're saying. It's Joey,
Right.
who was the comic.
Joey Buttafuoco.
Oh God.
No,
Let's stop.
just stop.
So let me.
Really
so
sorry.
we can segue this into Netflix because AMC talking about Netflix today
Right.
said Netflix is making every network gamble on more high quality programming, and I think that is actually the big danger for Netflix.
Right.
Is AMC, all the other networks will like wake up to their model, and the next time there's a House of Cards out in the world, AMC will have more money than Netflix.
Right.
They'll just start, the prices of this programming are going to start skyrocketing.
Right. Well, and it's interesting to me that I was there was a great Fresh Air did a thing with Genji Kohan, the one who created Orange is the New Black.
Right.
And she was asking her, like, she shot that show to everybody. And Terry Gross asked her, why did you pick Netflix? And she was like, well, it's because they basically let me do whatever I want.
Right.
And that's totally a repeatable model.
Right.
Like, there's nothing about Netflix that makes that
Yeah, I
doable.
mean, the
so if
Netflix
AMC
thing
is
was
like,
like-
hey, you're smart, make a show. Here's some money. You've done it before. We trust you. Do it.
Right.
That's
And
a doable
keep
thing.
in-
And,
and
so
for
much more money.
AMC, they get to win on both ends because they get to go. They can say, "Hey, season 2, Orange is the New Black.
Right.
Come put it on AMC. Right? It'll be great. We'll pay you the money.
Right.
Then they get to sell it to Time Warner and Comcast.
Right.
And then when that's all done, they get to sell it to Netflix.
Right.
Right.
And that's my concern for Netflix is that they're going to box themselves in. And it's just a really interesting, like, I think we are in this golden age of like television programming, right? I mean,
Right.
every show that I've been watching recently. By the way, I watched New Girl.
Solid show.
It's good.
It's a good show.
It has
No.
it has
That show gets a
charm.
lot of crap. It's a good show.
I'll check it out.
No,
But
the
has a
thing
charm.
nobody understands is that Zoe Deschanel is the worst part about that show.
She is the worst part about the show. And
Everything else is great.
And I will say this: I only brought that up because you've been telling me to watch it. I do not believe New Girl is part of the golden age of television programming.
New
It
Girl
is just
is
it is
by
just
itself
a
the
show.
golden age of television.
It is just a show
That
that's on
one
television.
every episode.
But I do believe that it is informed by.
whoa. Guys,
Yeah.
I'm being told by TC, Twitter just filed for IPO.
Oh, good.
All right.
Good for them. They're gonna make some money.
Yep. Okay, cool. Sorry, back to New Girl.
well then,
I mean, all these companies have to, right? They've run. They don't have any more runway to like lose money.
Right.
And I think Twitter's figured out a lot of. I think Twitter is a big part of this TV stuff.
yeah.
And I actually think Twitter's an interesting phenomenon with these shows because I watch Breaking Bad and then I look at Twitter and then the next day I read 15 recaps.
Right.
And I experience there's a whole world of endless tweets rising action, like just like here's the show, like now I'm anticipating it, everyone's tweeting about it, and we're all watching the show together. And like Twitter knows this, they're working with the networks, like this live this tweet does not constitute. This is the worst tweet in history.
Oh my god.
Are you kidding me?
This is like, wait, I'm gonna.
Do you know how to use Twitter?
I want this to be my new Twitter bio. This is like, my tweets do not constitute an offer of any securities for sale.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Who's on air? Something's
So
what?
it says, we've confidently submitted an S1 to the SEC for a planned IPO. This tweet does not constitute an offer of any securities for sale. I really like the idea that hundreds of people have replied and been like, I want 12.
And
I'm doing
not
it
a
right
single
now. You think I'm not
hashtag
doing
at
it right
all.
now? It's
It's
Confidentially.
confidentially, excuse me, not confidently.
I'm confidently
It probably was
submitting.
confidently done. Yeah. I'm sure they did it confidently.
How many shares can I buy?
How can you do no hashtags for this? All right, twitter.com/Twitter.
No, but it's funny. So, I mean, I think you're right. Like, Twitter and TV have been really, really, really good to each other.
Yeah.
And in a way that, like, Twitter and Netflix really aren't, which I think is kind of funny. And for me, it's like I don't have cable, so I'm constantly...
I can't believe I just trolled the official
Wow.
Twitter account. Like
Well
that.
done, Neeli. Well done. I'm proud of you. I would like to buy 10 shares. Neeli Patel owns 10 shares of Twitter. I think that's how that works. No, but so, I mean, I think the thing for Netflix that's really interesting to me is that what I wonder is when, like, the marginal return of continuing to do these shows starts to turn over, where it's like they can keep spending crap loads of money. I mean, it sounds like with House of Cards, they just outspent everybody. They were like, hey, David Fincher, here's $100 million.
It was two things. It was $100 million, and like you can do the entire series like in one fell swoop, and we won't look at it until it's done. We just trust you, which is something that TV does not do.
But eventually, like Netflix, I mean, they just don't have... they don't have the, like you said, AMC has this infrastructure where they make money from all sides in a way that Netflix doesn't.
Right.
And so like they can keep betting on these shows, and if they don't all work, fine. But what was the Eli Roth show on Netflix?
Oh,
the
werewolf
we really
thing.
watched. Yeah.
And the first one, Lilyhammer.
And Lilyhammer and Hemlock Grove was the other one. Yeah, those two. It's like if they keep having a hit and then a miss and then a hit and then a miss, like how long can they go before it stops being a good business decision for them?
Yeah.
And eventually, you run out of David Finchers and Genji Cohans to make you great shows, and once you're past those, what do you do?
What? I don't think you run out of those people.
Right.
I
mean, I feel like
the television industry hasn't run out of them yet, right? And
No, but that's what I'm saying.
And
It's
they've been in a bidding war for that talent this whole time.
Right.
What Netflix is changing is they're getting to make 60-hour movies. Mm-hmm. Right?
Like the Genji Cohen can now say, like, I just want to make a 10-episode story, and I'm going to do it all in one fell swoop, and you can just deal with it because I know exactly how I want it to end.
Right.
Whereas, like, TV writers now are like, we're going to do 5 episodes, and at that point, the first one's going to air, and if it's broken, we're going to tell you to fix it by episode 7.
No, and I think that's like the real thing that Netflix is changing. But I think if you're a smart TV executive, the idea of a 60-hour movie that you can hype every week that always ends on a cliffhanger is tremendous.
Right.
And Netflix shows never end on cliffhangers, right?
No, because they don't have to.
They really don't have to. Right. And so, like, when I binge watch a Netflix show, I'm like, wait, did I watch that episode?
Yeah, right.
Like, I forget because I've watched so much that I don't remember what happened in these discrete chunks. And I think there's going to be a lot of, like, push and pull between these models. And I think Netflix is going to find itself in a lot of extremely high-stakes bidding wars.
Yeah.
And that, well, it's great for Netflix, right? It validates their strategy.
Right.
But B, this is why cable bills go up.
Well, so
this is why, like, the NFL getting NBC and CBS and Fox into a bidding war is why the cost of Comcast is like.
Well, I was just gonna say this is what happened with live sports.
Right.
It's the same thing where suddenly there were a bunch of players. ESPN came and was like, we need all the live sports, so they bid the crap out of everybody.
Right.
And then Ted Turner goes, we need all the live sports, so he bid the crap out of everybody. And now everybody pays an astronomical amount for sports, and and they're all over the place because not everybody can afford all of them. And like that just seems like, unless Netflix wants to be ESPN and just come up with so much money that they can do that, which I don't know how they do because they don't have these cable subscribers. It's this weird back and forth, like you said, that I don't know who wins.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's eventually going to be like sports where 20 different people win, so we all kind of lose. Like for me, I've started watching soccer a lot, and soccer on like English soccer is in like 12 different places.
It just came to NBC.
Well, so it's on NBC, but then there's also they play some games on beIN HD. There's still some games on Fox. There's some games on ESPN every once in a while. It's unbelievably confusing because it's a huge sport that nobody could afford all of, and like that's going to happen with these shows, and that sucks. where like I'm going to watch 12 shows and I'm going to have to get Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, and we're already kind of there, and it's only going to get worse.
So Ben Popper, his post is up at the Twitter IPO.
Right.
Very interesting. Because it's confidential, Obama's Jobs Act, companies with less than $1 billion in revenue can file without releasing documents. Remember when Facebook filed for its IPO, we all like combed through the S1?
Yeah.
Right.
So because Twitter didn't release them and they said it's confidential filing, you can just say Twitter doesn't have $1 billion in revenue. Otherwise, they would be forced to release.
I mean, that's not that surprising, is it? That Twitter doesn't have $1 billion in revenue? I mean, isn't the company valued at $10 billion?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, there's value. It's like, what can we buy you at? And like,
it's just it's interesting timing. Ben's on the story. You should go read it. He's our business editor. He's going to do business stuff. By the way, this Fox Business story. Did you see this last week?
No.
What?
Twitter confirms IPO, or maybe not, and it was an entire story about how when the Fox Business reporter emailed Twitter about whether there was IPO rumors, the Twitter spokesperson emailed with just an ellipses, like ... and they wrote an entire story about it.
That's awesome.
And the headline of the story was Twitter confirms IPO, or maybe not.
I'm going to start replying to all of my emails with just ...
Yeah. I mean, this is like, everything. I have to say, because this story was like laughed at universally because it's such a bad story. Because it's literally Twitter responded with ... when I asked them about if they were IPOing. This is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
But they were right.
So know this company is the world, and ellipses means the world now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Poor Fox Business, man. This dude, who is this? Katie Roof and Charlie Gasparino. You're getting drunk tonight.
Yep.
You guys are big winners.
Congratulations.
Or maybe not.
You were right.
Nice.
Yeah, right?
Well played.
Wow.
Well played.
All right, let's talk about the service event. We should wrap this up.
It's
going to happen.
Yes. So
I will say
September 23rd.
September 23rd.
Yes.
Which is the Monday after the iPhone goes on sale.
The Monday after the iPhone goes on sale. I think we've seen this Lumia 1520 floating around. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure the last time there was a Surface event, there was a Nokia event near it as well.
Yeah, so there's Nokia, I think it's called Nokia World, which is usually every September. And there's a rumor that there's going to be another big announcement on the 26th. Right. But that seems crazy. Right. It seems much more likely that this is all going to happen on the 23rd. Because they're going to
buy, now that they're all one company.
Microsoft is going to buy Nokia.
What?
And then on top of everything,
or maybe not.
You know, there's been rumors of a Microsoft phone, a Surface phone, and there have been rumors of a Nokia tablet. I think we ran the tablet today, right? Didn't we run pictures of a Nokia tablet today?
Which looks nice.
So the idea that Microsoft, I mean, this is the biggest cluster that Microsoft can possibly get itself into. They're buying Nokia for $7 billion.
Yes.
In a couple of weeks, they're going to announce what is presumably a new Surface, possibly a Surface phone, and then a couple of days after that, Nokia might announce a tablet to compete with the Surface and a phone.
I have to assume it's all one big event now. Like they're just going to say,
dude. I mean, this is a sort of thing where, yes, the deal hasn't closed. There's two separate companies, but this is if there's anything in the world that explains why Microsoft had to buy Nokia's Devices and Services division, it's because Nokia is their competitor. Straight up their competitor. Microsoft's holding an event to put out devices. Yeah. Their biggest partner 3 days later is having an event to put out some new devices that compete directly with Microsoft's devices. This is why it's a problem. And the fact that Microsoft can't just come out and say it, we're competing with our biggest partner. They just haven't said it. That's a problem. It's the model that has never worked in the entire history of the technology industry. We can't do think about when I say that I mean
Google
it.
bought Motorola.
It's like if Google bought, and they're very careful, right?
Yeah.
The Moto X is not head to head with the S4. But even Sapom tried to compete with licensees, crashed and burned. If you remember at the iPhone launch, Google was on stage. Yeah. Eric Schmidt was on stage with Steve Jobs, and they're like, we can merge without merging. We're great partners. Right. The second Google started competing with Apple, they're like,
cut out. Schmidt's off the board.
We're off. Check out our new Maps app, everybody. It's the best.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's just never, this sort of thing has never worked. You can't make it work. So great, I get it why they're doing it, but the fact that the paperwork's been done, why does Nokia have to put out these devices? Microsoft, Steve Ballmer can't just call Steven Elop and Risto and be like, dudes, we're buying you. It's cool. You don't have to make any money this year. Just chill out. Let us see the tablet. Maybe it's better than ours. Maybe we'll just call that our tablet.
Maybe that's what it'll be. The Surface 2 will actually just be the Lumia.
Yeah, I mean,
I
think this is like
they've
maybe,
both been in development for so long. Like,
I
they're
think
both-
this is the end of Nokia's pipeline, and then
Sure.
you know,
Big phone, big tablet,
Right.
and that'll
yeah.
be.
and then we're done.
That.
Microsoft, please take these people
Yeah.
away. I don't know. I can't. You know, Josh is very with the Surface in particular. It's like the Surface was such an enormous fail. I mean, I don't know anybody who has a Surface.
Me neither.
And the people I knew a lot of people who bought a Surface. They have now all ended up with OEM laptops, like so Acer, Lenovo,
Yep.
IBM, Acer, Lenovo.
IBM.
What's the other brand I'm
Nice.
thinking of? HP.
Yeah.
By the way, we should talk about those HP Chromebooks because I'm buying that orange
Same.
one. $299.
Same.
$299.
Yeah.
Can we have it? Can we get the HP Chromebooks up? That orange $299. $199 or $299?
$299.
That orange $299 Chromebook is coming into my home. Becky, I'm so sorry. I'm buying another thing.
That does look pretty. Like,
It's nice.
is
that
this,
orange one.
Is this better than the
blue
Samsung one that
looks
just
like,
came out?
The blue one looks like garbage, and the white one is fine. The orange one.
the blue one's not
Yeah, I'm
bad.
buying a blue one. You're crazy.
Yeah.
What?
Look at that.
Get out of here.
Look
The
at
blue
that.
I don't
looks
want to hear
terrible.
anything. I don't
Dude,
wanna hear
that-
Oh,
anything.
the inside's white.
Yeah, it was silver.
The blue one looks. I don't know.
It matches my shoes, kind of. There
It
you
does.
go. Done.
I mean, that's the thing. but
I always
it
want my
just has
laptop to
that-
match Ross's shoes.
yes,
that's
you
true.
do. That's why you get the iPhone 5C.
Ooh, I don't like the inside. I'll get over it. Oh, that's ugly.
You're not looking at
The
the
bottom of the thing is ugly.
No, okay,
It's
but so
the
here's
same
And
the
box
that
as
just looks
Samsung
like
Chromebook.
that is such a ripoff of a MacBook.
So,
The
but here's the
white
thing: is
silver
that
one.
Oh my God.
what Google needed to do with Chromebooks
Yeah.
was make them last forever, and like Haswell, as we've seen
Yeah.
over and over, makes laptops last forever.
Right.
So if you can marry like a $300 laptop with, if they can get like, 8, 9, 10,
Right.
11, 12 hours of battery life, this becomes like a no-brainer second laptop
Right.
purchase.
You know, I will say,
or if you have like a desktop at home and you're like, I want a $300 laptop to sit on my couch with, like, done. This is the easiest decision ever.
Well, but I'm hoping for the power too, because I had a terrible wake up call thanks to you, because I really
My-
wanted to
my
get that
pleasure.
Samsung Chromebook.
Yeah.
And you let me borrow yours.
I did.
And I didn't realize that a Chromebook doesn't necessarily run YouTube.
Well, that one
At all.
that one is ARM powered and is spectacularly
Oh, that's why?
underpowered.
Oh,
yeah,
screw that. All right. But so this is Haswell, though.
Right. So what this is like, this Haswell just keeps getting me excited
Yeah.
because it's
You're a huge
slightly.
nerd. I want you to
I
know.
mean, whatever. Like your laptop that you own just became slightly, like ever so slightly more powerful, and it lasts twice as long.
Yeah.
With nothing else changed. Like that's
Right.
awesome. That's all
I
I've
mean,
ever
except
wanted.
that you had to get a new laptop.
Well, whatever. I have a disease. I buy gadgets. It's
no,
what
it's
I
fine.
do.
Look, I'm very excited about
Other
this.
people, like,
I
pay their rent,
totally,
I buy
totally
gadgets.
off the Surface conversation, which is what I was saying was.
Well,
look, it's
this
still
was Chrome.
It's a
exciting,
Chromebook.
and the Surface was.
No, look,
the,
I
the
have a
point
Chromebook.
was-
I just have a crappy Chromebook. I have the original Samsung Series 5 Chromebook.
Nice.
And it's just the slowest piece of junk
Yep.
in the world.
Yep.
The Chromebook I always wanted was a CR48, but fast. And the CR4, my CR48 is here somewhere in this office.
Yeah, we just used it for
just floating
a shoot.
around.
It's the perfect, like totally unbranded. No one
Yeah.
knows what it actually is.
Everybody
laptop.
knows what it is
great.
because it's completely
Right.
unbranded. No, so like that's when I always want this HP one seems close. And honestly, like I have to say, like if HP's strategy with their Chromebooks is to make a computer that looks almost exactly like a MacBook Air but in colors, that's $299 that runs Chrome OS.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a pretty good strategy. I'm not gonna
Yep.
prop them too much for completely ripping the design.
Well, and
but it's
yeah.
not a bad strategy, right? Like
Well, and the thing for me is like reading all these rumors and stuff about the Surface. It's their big thing is battery life is better, which is great.
Yeah.
Yay. And the kickstand is improved, so you can adjust it now, which solves like maybe my most annoying problem with the thing, which everybody yelled at me for. There's this GIF of me in the review I wrote where I prop it up on my lap and then it falls down, and then I prop it back up on my lap and it falls down. And if they've solved that, then great.
Right.
But I think what they haven't done is convince anyone why this is the right form factor for anything.
yeah,
Right.
And
And the touch cover is a nice idea in theory.
You know, they're
Sure,
still running
in
that.
theory,
they're
but
still
trying
running that
it.
Windows 8 commercial against the iPad.
Yeah.
With that terrible Acer laptop.
yeah.
Oh,
And
right.
it's like, why are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Microsoft, man, they're going to be a device company now, and then Nokia's going to put out devices to compete directly with their devices. 2 days later.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I
that's
mean,
gonna be awkward.
I would love for the new Surface to be cool. I still think there were a lot of really good ideas they did on that, and I think Windows 8.1 is going to help a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a start
like
button now.
The thing for me was like So Lenovo came out with the Yoga 2 Pro, which is like super high res. And Tom took this picture at IFA running 3 apps side by side on this super high res screen. It's like that's a big deal. Like that makes things not terrible
The
anymore.
apps are totally first party branded, completely official apps.
That's
from
perfect. That's what you want.
Real companies that you want to use.
Listen, yeah.
Don't
Don't do me
fine.
like that.
They're gonna spend money until they figure it out. I mean, that's Microsoft's plan, right? It's to blow money until everyone else like falls down. Like
it's like written in a memo somewhere.
It's your plan. It's like we're just gonna keep spending money until everyone else gives up, and then we'll be there.
So here's a random question.
Microsoft. What?
Here's a random question. Which stage does Stephen Elop hop on?
What?
I mean, he's no longer the CEO of Nokia.
Oh, he's getting on the Nokia stage.
Yeah,
without question. He's
He's their presenter.
He's their CEO right this second.
Didn't he step down immediately?
Did he step down immediately?
Yeah, I think so. I think the interim.
So
CEO
yeah, so he the chair of the board of directors.
Sorry, I just typed
changed.
ELOP into Google because I assumed it would just autocomplete to Wikipedia, like does that thing, and I ended up at elephant.com.
Elephant.
The most accurate. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Is the most accurate and up-to-date
up-to-date
League of Legends statistics.
That's actually what I was searching for.
Win,
Thank you,
Stephen
Google.
Elop. I bet this is his site. Like this is what he's been doing instead of making Nokia
He just
succeed.
plays League of Legends all day.
Like he got to Finland and he was like, "Oh my god, it's always dark here. You guys use Windows Phone. I'm playing League of Legends." This is ridiculous.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so has he stepped down? I believe he stepped down.
Yeah, so I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but the guy who was the chair of the board is now CEO.
Risto. Yeah, okay.
Risto.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
So then I predict that he will not be there.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
He's their presenter. He's still the face of the company.
I don't think. I mean, he's
I
going
mean,
to get
people who
defi-
aren't the
if he
CEO
goes
of
to
Apple
Nokia,
get up
he's
and talk. Like
definitely
Sundar gets up and talks about.
Yeah, he's
Android
in
and Google.
charge.
And Sundar's not going to get booed off stage.
Well, I guess he is the
There's
EVP
that.
of devices and
Yeah,
services.
so like this is still his thing at Nokia.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm a traitor. I made a tablet.
Do you remember that conspiracy theory you had of me for years? Guess what?
Where's the
You
broken
nailed
platform
it.
now? I lit this motherfucker on fire too. Sorry, I'm done now. All right, that's the Vergecast.
Yeah, let's a couple of
We're so
housekeeping
sorry.
things. Detours, amazing episode this week.
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
Fiber. Check it out. What happens when you put fiber in Kansas and what went right, what went wrong. The Moto X factory tour that Dan Seifert did was awesome.
Yeah.
A big piece on Weave.
Dan got to go to helicopter too.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
pretty neat.
He looked very happy.
Yeah.
The Weave piece, I have to say, so Greg Sandoval, who is one of our senior reporters, tremendous piece. And this is something we have been talking about on the Vergecast for years.
Right.
Just years we've been talking about it. The rise of bullying online, the rise of sort of hacktivists who they have the tools and the talent and then the antipathy against people to just wreak havoc and turn people's lives into hell. And Weave is a great example of this. So the story, it's about Weave in some way. But it's also about just the rise of this culture, which is around us.
Right.
And Greg did just an amazing. I mean, he's one of the best reporters in the business.
Yeah.
And
It's a fantastic
This piece is
piece.
amazing.
This
You
is
should read it. And you
unbelievable.
should really. I don't tell people to share our stuff because that's. But you should get other people in your lives to read this.
This is
Tell
very
everyone you've ever
powerful.
met.
Because but this is if you think about the broader culture of the internet and what people are, normals who Google for stuff and end up
Yeah.
on YouTube and they're like, why are YouTube comments so bad? This is a piece of it.
Right.
And if you go to CNN.com and CNN.com is Obama announces Kitten Day and they're like, I'm racist.
Right. I mean,
that's a piece of it.
And sometimes you look and you go, oh, that's kind of innocent, hateful, but whatever. And this is real serious ramifications that do.
This is the
affect
end of the
offline
line.
lives.
These dots have been filling in, and this is where that line ends up.
Right.
So you should read it.
Yeah,
And
it's great.
I really do encourage people to send it out and share it with people because it's important. It's important, and you should encourage other publications to write about it. What's the line? Sunshine's best disinfectant. That you should do that.
Wow.
What? It's a good line.
That's a good line.
Okay. Any more housekeeping?
Not. I mean, well, Nathan Seiker, happy birthday. He's one of our producers.
What are you doing?
I'm just kidding. All right, let's go.
It's not his birthday.
It's everyone's
It is a birthday.
birthday.
It's not.
If it's your
It is.
birthday,
I
happy
just
birthday.
said it's not.
Well, you can't decide
Sorry,
a birthday.
Nathan.
Nope, you can't decide a birthday.
You
That's not
think I
true.
can't?
Oh, yes.
He's Neeli.
All right. The end.
Done.
Anyway, that's the Vergecast. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you for all the people who called in today. That's actually really fun. We should do more of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you to Twitter for IPOing and for offering to sell me 10 shares directly on Twitter in the form of a tweet.
Confidently.
That was confidently offering to send me 10 shares. There's lots and lots of ways to get a hold of us. You can leave a comment on the post. You can leave a comment on the video post because, why not have two different places to comment? That makes total sense. You can tweet at us. I'm Reckless.
I'm at Pierce David.
Which is bad.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, Roscoe.
Which is worse. You can send us. You can email podcast@theverge.com, and you can just do any.
It's Vergecast@theverge.com.
Is it Verge?
Yeah, it's Vergecast@theverge.com.
I didn't
If you email podcast@theverge.com, I will personally make sure that Neil sees
If
it.
you email podcast@theverge.com, you get 10 shares to Twitter. Just think about it.
Or maybe not.
Only if you're very confident.
So that's it. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Josh will be back. Who knows what will happen?